Another LNP Lancaster Online Sports Roundtable. I'm your host, John Walk, with colleagues Jeff Reinhart and Mike Gross. Gentlemen, Friday afternoon, what a week it has been. We're coming off a PIAA vote to push back the start to the fall sports at least another 2 weeks after, gosh, what, 10 days ago when they put the three options in place. And a lot has changed since then. I don't know who wants to kind of take the first dab here as far as bringing everybody up to speed.
Mike,
what they announced, what the PIAA announced today is that it is reacting to what Governor Wolf said yesterday. It's going to push everything back until August 24th and to get more guidance about how they can play a fall sports season. Now, what Wolf said yesterday, he was asked a question about spectators. That's what the question is about. It wasn't about whether we could have, and he sort of, it was at the end of his press conference, and it was sort of an offhanded kind of remark, which was probably not a good idea on his part. But what he said was, we're going to recommend that there's no sports until January 1st of 2021. And then his office issued a statement which I thought effectively clarified that, which said, this is a strong recommendation, but it is not a mandate. It is not a requirement. And as always, as with other such big decisions, this is up to school boards and administrations to decide whether they want to play fall sports. I thought the statement he issued clarified this pretty effectively. It clarified it to my satisfaction. But clearly, Bob Lombardi of the PIAA today, I mean, he felt like he had been whacked in the head with a baseball bat by what Wolf said, and clearly when they were surprised by it. Clearly, they didn't see it coming. I think I don't really see why they couldn't have just said today, we're going to continue as planned. I don't see why that would have defied Wolf, given the clarification that he posted on his office's website.
Recommendation. That was his recommendation. He
yes.
didn't do it. Yeah. There's a lot to unpack here. I think my takeaway is there's light at the end of the tunnel for the fall sports kids. They could have canceled it. Just like today, they could have said, start on time. We're going to play 10 weeks. They could have also said today, hey, It was strongly recommended. Sorry, gang. See you January 1st. But they didn't. So there's some light at the end of the tunnel there. One thing to note for LL people earlier this week, guys, don't forget, they voted to push everything back and they have to stick with those dates. LL can't say, oh, okay, we're going to go back and start everything August 24th now. So HEDAC and LL football will be August 31st. Fall practices for everybody else will be September 4th. First football game will be September 18th. And golf now, Mike, golf will have to be adjusted now since they'll be able to go. LL golf will start August 27th.
This is a bad deal for golf. I mean, I realize golf is not on the top of most people's docket. I mean, unless you're a golfer or a family member of a golfer, but it is a high school sport, and they have to, their events have to be, the whole section of the LL gets together at a golf course and plays these matches. Well, now it has to be rescheduled. These golf courses are private businesses. It's not like they're using a school facility. And also the season is sequential with districts and leagues and states and all that. This kind of messes with golf in the way that I think it doesn't really mess with any other sport logistically.
And originally, golf would have been great. They would have started early and got their whole season in.
And really, golf is, they can start early. They can play it social distancing. They can. It's almost better for them to do it when they're not in school, because if they are in school, they lose almost half a day to travel to these golf matches. Golf matches take 4 hours to play. So you know what I mean. Golf.
And now they're in a boat of, okay, they're going to have to scramble to rework their schedule and find golf golf courses that will take them on certain dates and rearrange everything. And then who
Correct.
knows, they put in all that work and then come, I don't know, what, 2-3 weeks until PIAA lets us know what they're going to say. And then all that work is for naught if everything is bagged at that point. Not that I suspect that's going to happen, but it's a possibility, certainly.
And the other thing we should throw out here, I think, is that I think they pretty seriously considered a model where they don't start high school sports until January 1st and do this thing where they play the winter sports starting then, and then a fall sports season, and then a spring sports season that would go into the summer, as some other states have done. Virginia, for example, has done that. I think they considered that. And Rhines, you were hearing that was on the table.
Lombardi kind of danced around that answer. I think he just kind of kept saying, we're doing everything we can. We're giving our student athletes the opportunity to play. Right?
But at one point he said, I think he said, and I'll have to go back and look through it because I did record it on my phone, but I think he said something like, if we have to, we can go back and get a 3-season thing in. I think he said something that opened the door to that.
Yeah, I think,
kind of.
Yeah, we're going to try to do everything we can to get a 3-season.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Year. But
I don't think he wants to do that. But if they can't do the fall, that's what I think they'll do. If they can't do the fall,
yeah, they might have to. New York, I guess, is looking at that, and Delaware, and they border PA. So I don't know. I talked to Doug Bohannon right after, the District 3 chair from Elko, and I talked to Ron Kennedy, our LL executive director, and they both kind of said the same thing. Light at the end of the tunnel. It's still there. There's still a lot on the board. There's still a lot of options. And Kennedy, I loved his comment. He said, this should show everybody in the state, but especially the LL crew, that these people are going to bat for you. They want you to get a fall season. They want you to be on the field. They want you to play. They very easily could have said today, we're done, and we're not going to go against his wishes, and we're finished. But I really like that. I'll use that quote here. I got a bunch of stories coming up.
Yeah, and I also think you got to say, kind of a big picture thing here, the PIAA has bent over backwards here to respect the governor's office. I mean, really bent over backwards. And if they're not willing to work with the PIAA now and sit down and say, okay, here's how you can do this, and we'll be okay with it. If they're not willing to do that now, then they deserve to get ripped, and they deserve a lot of the, I think, nonsensical criticism that they've been getting to this point. I mean, if they can't work something out by August 24th, given everything that's happened and everything that happened today, I mean, that really sucks.
And they being the governor's office, you're saying, right?
The governor's office and the PIAA together, if they can't work something out now, when the PIAA is saying, hey, man, we could really have come out today and said we're playing, right? Sure. I don't see why they didn't do that, but they certainly could have.
Does this get Wolf's attention?
I think so.
Yeah, not that Lombardi stood up and pounded his chest and said, but
obviously he has a ton of things on his plate, but this is getting urgent now, and I think it's getting a lot of attention, a lot of across-the-board attention. This seems like it's on the front burner now, and I think you're right, Ryan. Yeah.
And the frustrating part, I think, for everybody is, weren't these conversations happening between the PIAA and the governor's office the last many weeks? It seems like this surprised both of them.
Yeah, I think they were really flabbergasted by what Wolf said yesterday, and I think they couldn't get past that. I think they probably could have found a way to get past it. I think they probably could have, but they didn't. They didn't in 24 hours.
All right, same question to both of you guys. Mike, September 18th. Are we sitting in a football stadium covering a game?
Yep.
Johnny?
I don't know, man. I have this lingering fear that schools are going to open and cases are going to rise and schools will close, and then we'll be back in the same boat that we're in March. At the same time, I'm optimistic that these kids can hopefully get a season in. I'm trying to, best I can, look at the research that's out there and look at the age group and see, hey, this demographic, is it killing kids? at a rate, comparable to other diseases and whatnot. And I don't know. I've been saying
And
this.
would being in school be safer? Would be more dangerous than not being in school?
Right.
That's not clear. That's not entirely clear to me.
And what happens if a player? There was a good story today. Alex Gila and Heather Stauffer are education and health reporters. That's probably still up on our website. Just in regards to, they dug into seeing what happens if a student tests positive. Then what? And it seemed like every person they talked to, the answers varied all across the board as far as disclosing it. Is there contract tracing? Is there not? Does that student get sent home? Does the people around them get sent home? Like, there's just nobody knows right now. And that's the whole way from the bottom to the top. And the health department saying that too. So that's the frustrating part, is if sports returns and a bunch of kids get sick, then what?
Mike, I thought today the ball was in the PIAA's court. I think they put it back in Wolf's court today. So
okay, that's
fair. What are Wolf's options now? What's he going to do while waiting for his phone to ring? What do you think?
Well, I think he gets together with the Department of Health, the Department of Education, and says, "Hey, what do we want to say to these guys? We're going to sit down. They're going to sit down with them. What are we going to say? What do we want to tell them to do that they have not already done?" Right. I mean, think about these plans that every one of these schools has had to come up with and did come up with. I mean, what can we ask them to do that we haven't already?
Right, and I'm already at great lengths today pointed that out. Our people have done a wonderful job coming up with these plans. We put in a lot of work. Have there been some cases? Yes, but for the most part, 99%, this is working. Our people are doing the work and they're bending over backwards to make it safe for everybody. Give us a chance. I think that was Bob's tone, I thought.
Yeah, I agree.
Starting today, I was looking over, and because I was looking at the same document yesterday, it's a link of Governor Wolf's COVID-19 guidelines. If you scroll down far enough on the website, it has guidelines for sports, high school and recreational / club
I've seen
sports.
Those, yeah.
Right.
And this morning, added into the recreation club thing was, it's recommended by the governor's office that no recreation or club sports until January 1st, 2021. That was added in there sometime in the last 24 hours because that was not there today. So people keep saying, why can club AAU stuff keep going ahead and high schools can't? Well, now that caveat's added into club and recreation stuff too.
But it also included, but that statement also included the same thing I was mentioning earlier. It's not a mandate. It's not a recommendation. So on and so forth.
Nobody wants to be the bad guy here. Nobody wants to be the one that lowers the boom and says no sports. You do it, okay? And I'm telling you, I'm recommending. Okay, now we're telling you we need clarification.
But the PIAA today could have said sports.
Sure.
The opposite of no sports. They could have said sports.
They could have.
And I'm not fully. It's not clear in my mind why they didn't do that.
Right. When they read that, I mean, it happened so quick. I mean, it was, call to order, executive session, welcome back, motion, seconded, vote, boom. It was like,
well, first of all, they opened the meeting, they showed the agenda, they talked for like 30 seconds, and then they go into executive session for 10, 15 minutes.
20, 15 minutes.
However long. And then when they came out of executive session, you're right.
It was over. That was it. It was Bill Mitchell from District 6. He said, I'd like to make a motion to defer the start of sports for 2 weeks while we get clarification. And Doug Bohannon from Elko said, I second it. And everybody voted. Melissa Mertz said 30-2. The motion passes. And I was like, what?
Oh, and really? that was, if you look at the agenda, that was all that was on there.
That was it.
Yeah, I mean, it was the shortest agenda in PIAA history, and obviously it was because this meeting was called for one very specific but very big thing. Yeah,
30-2. I didn't catch the 2 that said that.
Yeah, I did. I wrote it down. One of them was District 7, I think, and one was that he was not from a district. He was one of the representatives of Jonathan Bauer was one of them. Yeah, and the other one was something.
So to also kind of relating to give people an update as far as what in the world's going on across the state. I know it's a lot of moving parts, different districts have different plans. There's schools opting out. Jeff, I think you're probably the most adept at kind of at least trying to cover most of our bases there as far as who's done what.
Yeah, a couple of school districts have already opted out. Norristown, Potts Grove,
Reading, right?
Reading. I want to say Phoenixville. I'm sorry if they're not, but there's been like 3 or 4 or 5 schools now across the state that have said, we don't care what your ruling is, we're not letting our kids go play. I don't know if they regret that today because there's light at the end of the tunnel. But, and Mike can follow up.
Good point. Yeah, maybe they do.
Regardless of what anybody was going to say, it was going to be up to the schools. PIAA today could have said, we're not going to sponsor any state playoff games, and we're going to throw it to the school. If you guys want to have a season and put a schedule together, it's up to your administration. Thank you. See you in January. That could have happened, right?
And regardless of what happens on August 24th, other schools could do what Reading has done.
Opt out.
Of course, and that's, let's point out, that's exactly how it's supposed to be. Sure. In America, public schools are governed by local school boards. That's the way this is supposed to work. And to some extent, I think Wolf's job and the PIAA's job is to facilitate, but not get in the way of that process.
Right. The PIAA just, they're like the sponsors. They sponsor.
Oh, yeah. They're the governing body. They're governing body.
Yeah. So, any school in the state right now can opt out on their own and say no sports. It could happen. And
that technically is true any year.
Any year.
But obviously, it's not going to come up. And
all right. So the next 2 weeks, what are some of the important dates that we're looking at? There's a District 3 board meeting coming up. What's the LL League doing? And then I guess the August 24th date. Like when do we hear from the PIAA again? Too?
August 21st.
Okay.
August 21st, they meet. District 3 meets on this coming Monday. What's that, the 11th? 10th? Yeah, District 3 meets Monday morning. I guess
it's the 10th,
they'll start sifting through ramifications and what all this means. I have no idea. If they do play, District 3 is going to have to come up with some new PowerPoints and who's going to get in the playoffs and how they're going to do that. PIAA, August 21st, they'll meet. I don't know when the next LL meeting is. They just met the other day. But I guess other than that, it'll just be changing. We'll be waiting for anything from the PIAA.
The big meeting, if it is a formal meeting, will be between the PIAA and the governor's office, and I don't think anybody knows when that's going to happen at this moment.
They may not even tell us. We're liable to just get.
That may be a very sort of private. I hesitate to say smoke-filled room thing, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah.
Sure. Right. I'm very anxious to see how that goes down because nobody wants to be the bad guy here, and I have no idea.
Well, if I have to bet, I'm going to say on August 24th, they're going to say there's a way we can do this, and here's what it is. I think that's what's going to happen. But
I think Lombardi has enough ammo because he's going to say, look, you're letting all this other stuff go on. Wrestling tournaments and AAU and Little League and the Nook. And if these people can do it and do it safely, we have the plans in play that we think we can do it safely. So let us do it.
Yeah, that's a good point. What John was talking about earlier. I mean, there's no way that Spooky Nook is going to shut down.
No, they'll get more
until January 1st. I mean, that's not happening. You know, that's not happening.
I'm asked every 5 minutes, well, if they can go do the Little League and the Nook, why can't they do sports? And the answer is protocols. They got to get kids back in school, then sports. The protocols are so much tougher here just to get them back in school.
Yeah.
You go to the Nook, what do? Take your temperature? Okay, come on.
I don't know if starting sports on a normal schedule might be useful as kind of a test for how they can start school.
Sure. No.
In some ways, I don't know.
Yeah. This is all uncharted territory for everybody.
Yeah.
And I think with the PIAA doing this, they're saying, hey, we're going to grab the bull and we're going to go. It's time. Somebody's got to go out there and start this and play and see how it goes. My biggest fear, as John mentioned, is week 1, everybody gets sick. That would be a nightmare. But, you know.
Well, yeah, that would be.
Yeah, that'd be a total
There's
nightmare.
big numbers getting sick. Yeah, that
Oh,
would
absolutely.
be a disaster.
For everybody involved, that would be a nightmare. But kudos to the PIAA today. They took the step and said, let us get some clarification. Nobody cancel anything yet.
And just a reminder to folks out there, sometimes the hardest decisions takes time to come to the right decision. So let's just take a breather, give it some time, talk it over.
Amen.
And instead of being rash and being hard on people, put yourself in other shoes first before you make a comment.
Turn
and realize
off your phone.
the many
Turn off
hurdles,
your phone, America.
Yeah, realize the many hurdles that people have to jump over first before they can finally make a decision together. And
correct,
ultimately, they're trying to do this for the kids and do what's right for the kids, and that's the most important part. And
Absolutely.
let's all just let's take a step back, and hopefully, you know, for now, fall sports are still on the table. Let's take a break this weekend,
Absolutely.
catch our breath, treat everybody kindly, and hopefully, cooler heads will prevail here in the coming weeks. Any last parting words from you guys?
Well, just to amplify on that a little bit, all these people who are saying, don't you realize that sports are important? There's nobody that doesn't realize that sports are important. Shut up about that. I'm sick of hearing that. Everybody's trying, okay? Sure, everybody's trying to get it right.
Yeah, my final thought would just be, I thought the PIAA proved today beyond a shadow that they care about your kids, they care about the athletes, they are doing everything humanly possible to get them on the field. Bohannon backed that up about District 3. Kennedy backed that up about the LL. They're trying. Give them some time. Preach, John. Yeah, you're right on. Just give it some time. They'll make the right call. No full-blown panic here just yet. Let this play out, and everybody will be back safely on the field soon, we hope.
All right, one day at a time here, gentlemen. Keep charging forward, and we'll keep bringing all you guys information. Thanks for watching out there. Appreciate it.
See ya.